Welcome to Podnutz Daily for September 19th, 2008, episode number 81. Had a problem today on a computer. The right click, this was a problem from yesterday. The right click would not work on the desktop. Have you ever tried to right click on the desktop, you'd get an error and the system would just halt or freeze or something. You could right click anywhere else, but not on the desktop. My dad did a little research on this problem, and he came up with this program called Shell XView. I don't know what site you get it from. I think you could download it from tucows.com. That's tucows.com. And what that does is allows you to, I don't even know what it does. He worked on it. But anyway, if you disable certain menu items using Shell XView, it fixes that. You can't right-click on the desktop problem. Probably not a lot of people are having that problem, but if you ever do, check out Shell XView. And you have to disable the context menu items. That's what you need to disable. There's probably like 10 of them. You just have to disable them one by one till you find the one that's actually causing the problem. Can't talk in too much detail about that because I didn't do the fix, but that is what I've come to understand. Had another problem. Computer could not connect to the internet. Everything else seemed to be running semi-okay. We were doing, anti-spyware, cleanup, antivirus, and just cleaning up a system that was infected with spyware. It actually had XP Antivirus 2008 on this machine. Well, we ran Smith Fraud Fix, CCleaner, and Super Anti-Spyware. I don't know if we ran an antivirus program, but like I said before, sometimes what happens is if you're running these programs, they might take a chunk or they might try to fix a problem, but unfortunately, the problem, like the spyware or the virus, had attached itself to a vital system file. So when the antivirus or anti-spyware tries to get that problem cured, it might take a vital system file with it. Well, a lot of times you might lose internet access because it's messing stuff up in your internet options, or it's taking away something with the WinSock in the WinSock. Well, there's a program called WinSock XP Fix. More times than not, I run that program when I'm not having an internet connection. It fixes it, and I can get right on the internet. Again, I'm not sure where you get that from. MajorGeeks.com, I think, and it's called WinSock XP Fix. Small little program, takes about 30 seconds, if that, to run, and works very effectively on not getting connected to the internet. Another problem with this computer is automatic updates. This particular computer was a Dell desktop. Computer would, let me see if I can get it right in my head here. The red shield, the security center would pop up at the bottom of the screen. Red shield would pop up saying automatic updates is turned off. When you actually go into the security center and look at automatic updates, they're turned on. But the notice kept telling us it was turned off. When that happens, or when anything funky happens in automatic updates, what I like to do now is just manually go and update the computer. Like manually go to Windows Update. I think it's update.microsoft.com or windowsupdate.microsoft.com. But if you go into the start menu on Windows XP, it's in the and look under Programs, it's in the list, Windows Updates. You click on that, download the updates manually, and Microsoft will usually either tell you what's missing and why the updates can't install, or it will fix them automatically, or it'll prompt you to fix them with a fix that Microsoft is providing. So if you're ever having a problem with updates or automatic updates, just update your computer manually, and it'll flush out what's wrong with the update process. Had another system today. We ran CTools on a hard drive yesterday, found out the hard drive was bad, but still usable. It just ran really slow, and it was very unpredictable. It failed the CTools test. We got a copy of a Acronis True Image and loaded that up, cloned that drive to another hard drive, put that in the machine, thing ran fine. So if you can get away with cloning a hard drive before it's too late, Acronis is a great tool for that. It was a 30 gig hard drive. I used USB 2.0 external connectors to do this. Here's the thing I didn't do. I didn't load Acronis up on the bad hard drive. I took the hard drive out of the machine and I hooked it up to my bench computer. Then I took the new hard drive that we bought and I hooked that up to my bench computer using USB 2.0. Then I loaded Acronis up in my bench computer ran clone disk on one to the other. So everything was being done through USB 2.0. It worked, but for a 30 gig drive, it took about an hour and 15 minutes. So I can't imagine a bigger drive might take longer if you use USB 2.0. Let me play a voicemail that Simon Zarafta had left us. And then I'll read some emails, and then we'll probably do some live calls today. Here is Simon's message.
Hi, good day, Steve. It's Simon Zarafta calling from actually very sunny Pembrokeshire today. Listening to the most recent episode on iTunes, which I think is number 79. You're asking for recommendations or suggestions for freeware disk partitioning software. The one I often use is called Parthead Magic, and you can get that from partheadmagic.com. It is based on gParthead, but it's actually a separate, almost Linux distro specifically for disk editing and partitioning, etc. It's got a bunch of other useful tools on the ISO as well. They've just upgraded to version 3. There are versions which are bootable ISOs or bootable from USB flash drives. So you might want to give that one a go. It's a 45 meg download to burn the ISO. Give it a go. I've had quite a lot of success with it. It does seem a little slow when compared to things like, I don't know, some of the more commercial packages, but it does do the job and it gets the job done. If you're testing it on a Windows Vista platform, I would back up the data on that machine first just in case. As you probably gathered, Windows Vista has slightly different requirements for partitioning formats and layouts of partitions, where they begin and end, etc. So just in case, back it up first and see how you get on with it. I believe there is a version of it included on the Ultimate Boot CD for Windows as well, so you can get to it that way, or if you want to download the latest version, then go to the website. Secondly, also on the Ultimate Boot CD for Windows is another useful tool which is part of the actual Windows side of things, which is called WD Diagnostics. This is a package I use regularly for doing essentially the sorts of tests that you might do with feed tools. Essentially, it's Western Digital's version of the same product, but it does run from the Ultimate Boot CD for Windows, which is useful because you can then test the drive outside of a regular Windows install. Does the equivalent short and long smart tests and shows you all the smart results. So you can look at the reallocated sector counts, etc., to see if the drive is starting to fail or if it's having to remap sectors. And then you can choose then what to do with the drive, either test it with something else more complex, or you